You already know who it is. I am We-On-Loc, and I am doing both Yard Stream or StreamYard and YouTube on my phone and StreamYard. Getting into what we got to get into today on another tragedy, which we did not know until the death of Mrs. Good from Minnesota, the white woman that got shot in the head by ICE. And then there was another incident that we didn't know about. Mr. Keith Porter. Say his name, say his name, say his name. Mr. Keith Porter was a victim of ICE as well. A 43-year-old man of two children, both girls, age 20. The other one was 10. And I hate reporting on stuff like this because it's sentimental to me, because I'm in my 40s and I have a daughter who is 14. I can just, and a son who's 11. I can only imagine the tragedy of what might happen to my kids if something were ever happen to me because of ICE. The situation is New Year's Eve. I guess he had shot something in the air. I'll play the clip. He shot something in the air. He shot his gun in the air. He was a gun owner. And this was just all a part of New Year's, popping off fireworks. He popped off his gun. And a off-duty ICE agent spotted him and I guess opened fire on him. Now, we did not know this incident because we were too busy harping on what happened to the white girl that got blasted in the face. Execution style. It's very tragic. It's very heartbreaking, and it's very, very frustrating. If I had anything to say about it, it's very, very frustrating due to the fact that all these things happen all at once in 1 week, or one weekend after another weekend after another weekend after another. So without further ado, and there's no accountability whatsoever. We don't hear Pam Bondi, or whatever her name is, investigating these things thoroughly. They don't want to do that because this, like I said, this is a third world country that we're in. You don't have ICE agents on American soil. You do not have the Army. You do not have the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, or the Marines on American soil. That is against code. That is against law. That is against code. That is definitely against law. But without further ado, we just play the clip of a man that has two kids that, like I said, 120 and 110, that they're never going to see their dad again. Their black father, I should say.
I didn't know anything about his story until someone asked me, had I done a story, had I created a video about Mr. Porter? And I said, no, I hadn't heard about his death. I mean, by that time, the death of Renee Good was running 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And here I had heard nothing, absolutely nothing about Keith Porter Jr. So the reactions to their deaths have been very, very, very different. And that's what I want to get into in this video. I want to talk about how the national media has handled these two different deaths, two different people, both shot by ICE agents. All right. So here we go. Keith Porter Jr. and Renee Nicole Good. Two people killed within 7 days of each other by ICE agents. All right. So ICE agents shot and killed two Americans within 7 days, one a white female and the other a black male. The value appropriated to each of their lives couldn't be more different. National media elevated one death, that of Miss Good, and minimized the other. As we look at the incidents and we just consider how they've been handled, it also shows the great need for more black media, more black independent media.
Real quick, Barb, is there a way that you could go to the StreamYard and put in the StreamYard link to this, if you know what I mean? If you can, good. If not, don't worry about it.
More black owned media. The Griot, The Root, Roland Martin's Black Star Network, the bigger black owned media, it's not enough. We need more. And we need to support black owned independent media because they just don't tell our stories. The people who are making the decisions simply don't tell our stories because we should have known about this. How could this happen over 10 days ago? Mr. Keith Porter Jr.'s death, how could that happen and we not know about it? Why didn't it absolutely flood the media? And I'd be searching, I'd be looking for those kinds of stories to tell. And yet I had heard nothing about it. Not anything, just crickets. Now, as I look at this, some people are going to say, stop making this a race issue. My response is anyone who says that foolishness is dishonest and is just a fool. Why? Because white America has, from America's inception, made everything in America about race. So I'm not making it about race. Race is already in the fabric of the country. How can you conclude anything else? We're talking about a country that enslaved black people for 250 years.
Right.
And genocide other non-white people to take the land and Jim Crow and all the works.
Right. So
these people running around saying America's not racist, there's so much evidence of America's systemic racism. Anyone who says that should be soundly and roundly condemned because they're being dishonest, they're being foolish. All right, so let's get into a little bit of the specifics. Both of these deaths are tragic.
Let me ask a question, if I could. Why doesn't race to you, and I know it's mostly conservatives saying that. I know it's mostly conservatives who are saying that because it's no freaking way that a normal person can look at the society that we're living in and not see racism. It's just totally mind-blowing to me. What? Just because we got AI, we got computers, we got food, and we got Starbucks and all this other shit. It's like, how can does it cover your woes? I just distinctly remember people telling me that when that incident went down the other day, last week, that it was just a race problem. It was a white on white crime. Well, are we forgetting the people in Chicago, those black folks in Chicago that got dragged out of their apartment? Are we forgetting about that? Obviously, we don't care.
Truth of the matter is, neither one of their lives is more valuable than the other. They both were created in God's image. But that is not the way things operate here in America. On December 31, 2025, an off-duty ICE agent shot and killed Keith Porter Jr. in Northridge, Los Angeles, or Northridge, California. I'm not from that state, don't know much about it, but apparently Northridge, I believe, is in LA County, but it's not LA. It's one of the surrounding areas, if you will. That was December 31st. On January 7th, 2026, an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis during a federal operation. All right, we've seen video after video after video after video about her death. Apparently, there is no video regarding Mr. Porter's death, although some could come out. As I've said, even in the legal analysis of Ms. Good's video, that more evidence is coming out, right? The investigation, oftentimes these investigations just take time and more evidence tends to leak out. So I'm sure I have just scratched the surface trying to get to know the facts regarding Mr. Porter's death. And like I said, the media treated both of them very, very different. National outlets immediately humanized Miss Good, as they should have. Reporters identified her as a 37-year-old mother, poet, and wife. See, they're talking up her humanity. Again, trying to humanize her. Journalists centered her spouse's voice in every coverage. Media framed her as compassionate, creative, and community-minded. So they were painting a very wholesome, very good picture of her. All right? And the ICE agent shot Miss Good while she was sitting in her vehicle. We all saw that. Multiple videos captured the incident and spread rapidly online. And in fact, a video was released by the government that affirms what I said in my in-depth legal analysis, that she was turning away from him. She was not trying to attack him. She was not trying to run him over. She was not acting like a domestic terrorist, as the government said. She even said in the video even captured her saying, "I'm not mad at you," she said to the shooter. Whereas when he shot her, you could hear somebody saying, I don't know if it was him or someone else who said.
And that's another thing. That's a more funny thing. These people were talking as if she came from a different country, like she came from Canada or something. I don't care if this person came from Canada. I don't know why I'm speaking about that incident, but I can picture in the same time, same space, same vehicle, my mother, your sister, your older cousin, Jasmine Crockett. I can picture her in that vehicle. She didn't, to me, the only thing that she did wrong was interact with that ICE agent. And the only thing she brought on in one of the videos was that she said she didn't blame him for what he did or what he was doing. and the words FUB came out of his mouth. And then coming the two agents in the truck, one agent gets out the car, tells the lady to get out the car, while the other agent has already told her to get the hell out the way. When she just backed out of the driveway, here comes the other ICE agents. He goes around the vehicle after they come towards, he's already in front. He's yanking, one of the officers that were driving the car is yanking on the door, telling her to get out. I don't know if they have badges or not. Anytime I see a person with a gun, I'm off. But at that time, she backs up. He already has his hand on his gun. And as soon as she goes forward and goes the opposite direction, he fires. In this situation, it's New Year's. Everybody's popping fireworks. He's popping his pistol or whatever. Off-duty cop sees him. Bang. Very sad and tragic.
F and B.
Oh.
So the narrative is quite a bit different than, whereas when he shot her, you could hear somebody saying, I don't know if it was him or someone else who said F and B. So the narrative is quite a bit different than what the government has said about both the shooter and Miss Good. All right. National outlets replayed the footage and elevated public outrage. And there have been protest after protest after protest after protest. Federal officials claimed Good used her vehicle as a weapon. I don't see that, even with the video from his cell phone, the shooter's cell phone. Minneapolis officials publicly rejected that narrative. The dispute fueled sustained national coverage and protests. Right? So we've heard and seen so much about Mrs. Good's death. Now, let's contrast that with how media introduced Mr. Porter's death. Local outlets identified Keith Porter Jr. as a 43-year-old father of two. His family described him as caring, peaceful, and community-oriented. But the first article that I read about him said that he was an active shooter. Very different way than how the media reported Miss Good. Now, Mr. Porter grew up in Compton, reportedly. His nickname was Pooter. I want to share a little bit about him on a personal level since the media is not getting this information out. He loved fishing. He loved to fish. Here we have him having caught what looks like a red snapper, I think it is. Okay, he loved to fish. He was a huge 49er fan, huge San Francisco 49er fan. He was also a proud girl dad with two daughters, one age 10 and the other one 20.
So you got a guy here who just loves living life, fishing, playing ball, not professionally, but whatever, likes to go to the park, likes to take his kids to the park. And I often thought that in one instance that we all say that we all die young in our 20s. That's how. We can die in our 40s too. Because obviously these people, these extremists, have an issue with people of color, as per se. They have a issue with, black and brown and, Latinas and Arabs and Muslims and different race, different creed, different colors. But white people often think that they are the pure Christian, uh, uh, the pure Christian brotherhood per se and sisterhood. They always complain that they are losing the country, that no one pays attention to them, they don't get a fair shake, they're losing their jobs, people are taking all their money, and it's like blah 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 blah. People got on it when people got angry. White folks got angry when I think it was Biden at the time was trying to take away the Second Amendment. I know that because back in Lansing, Michigan, they had their rifles at the Capitol. I mean, this is a young man who's just living life. And because he fired a couple of shots in the air, we don't know if we can't confirm that he aimed it at the direction at the off-duty cop or whoever. But his neighbors can debunk any screw job bullshit lie that's going to come his way, that has already came his way. Stressful.
So he was a proud girl dad. He leaves 2 grieving daughters behind.
Like, share, and subscribe.
All right.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Now, his personal story was largely overlooked by the national media. His humanity appeared only late. All right. And that was because the family was pushing the personal, humanized side of Mr. Porter rather than this active shooter, right? This boogeyman, the scary black man who deserved to be killed, whereas Miss Good was unjustly killed. All right? And that's the very reason why we needed an organization like Black Lives Matter, and still need someone affirming that black lives matter. All right? All right, so this active shooter label that they attached to him, they repeated that in early reporting. And what the family says is that Mr. Porter was actually shooting in the air in celebration of the New Year. And that is completely believable, because I know here in the DFW area, there is a lot of shooting in the air around the 4th of July, as well as when the New Year come in. You can tell the difference between fireworks and gunshots. All right, so that definitely is a believable thing, that he was not shooting at anyone. He was not trying to harm anyone, not trying to kill anyone, but shooting in the air. All right.
Hey, Cynical One.
So basically the media moved on just based on this thing of being an active shooter. Like his life didn't matter because he was labeled an active shooter pretty early in the thing. Whereas Miss Good was framed as an innocent victim. Okay? Whereas Mr. Porter was framed as a threat. All right? And Mrs. Good had the benefit of, again, the national media picking up her story and pushing it. And that wasn't happening and has not happened by chance. That happens because there are people, whites principally, in these media news rooms and the editors and so on, who are telling the folks in front of the camera what to say, oftentimes writing what they should say.
Mm-hmm.
So they push these narratives. It's good for business. It's good for the algorithms. All right. So the national media.
Jojo! One second, I'll be back.
All right. In celebration of the new year coming in. So essentially what that means is he was a gun owner. He was exercising his Second Amendment rights to own a gun. But the problem is he's a black man with a gun. And I can't run with this thing about him shooting in the air because that has not been confirmed. And even if it were, he didn't deserve to die for it. Sort of like George Floyd. George Floyd was accused of trying to pass a fake $20 bill. That allegation was never proven. And even if it did not justify what we saw happen to Mr. Floyd. So I'm not running with this shooting in the air thing until that's been confirmed. And even if it is confirmed, I'm still not running with it because then you're saying that it was a justification for him to be shot. Now, some news outlets have reported that he was shot because he shot at the ICE agent. Well, that too has been refuted and it hasn't been proven. So I'm not going to run with that neither.
People will just say anything just to get a news story. I don't believe that this brother, who to me, we never knew him, we don't know him, but from the looks of it, he's just an average everyday Mo, just like you and I. But yet, the regime that we're in right now, the dictatorship that we are in right now, where this administration is threatening another country and possibly we might be facing World War III. This gentleman, sad to say, and you're going to hear something quite interesting, by the way, in a minute. This gentleman happens to be a kind dad, a kind father, a kind human being. Wrong era, wrong time. Sad to say, wrong era, wrong time. And there's going to be more. So I don't want to hear anybody who happens to be my color, my skin, and saying some dumb shit like, it doesn't affect me, stay out of their business. You need to get slapped in the face. If you don't think this does not affect you in any way, try again.
And situate any allegation. Mr. Porter and his family. Something you may never think about, but it's huge. Over $1.5 million, her spouse and children. And I checked it. If I was looking at the right one, let me show you another way that this is being really unfair to Mr. Porter and his family.
Listen.
Something you may never think about, but it's huge. And that is the good family created a GoFundMe for her spouse and children. And I checked it. If I was looking at the right one, it has already raised over $1.5 million.
Wow.
Over $1.5 million. And then I looked up whether Mr. Porter his family had created one for him. And yes, they had. And it, at the time that I looked at it, which was a few minutes before shooting this video, if that was the right one, had raised less than $5,000. Hers, 1.5, his, less than 5 for his children who are left behind.
And that's another thing about race. That people say that racism doesn't exist. Race is a thing of the past. You just heard this lawyer say that the white lady's family raised over $1.5 million in GoFundMe. $1.5 million. While Mr. Keith Porter has only raised less than that. Way less than that. That is some sucker shit. But hey, we truly don't care much about anything at all when it comes to our people, because it's just we go at each other too much. We just don't care. I don't know how else to put it.
And oh, by the way, a lot of people have said to African Americans that this has nothing to do with us, that this is all about immigrants. Okay? Well, this should show you that it does have to do with all of us. And when you have people, law enforcement, running around the streets with guns, the most endangered person is black men. It's black men. I pray that Mr. Porter is the first and last, but I have my doubts. So these folks saying this has nothing to do with black people, once again, they're wrong in their calculus. Now, let me just show you.
No, I think that would be enough. As I sit here and think about it, he's right in a sense. He is right that men, I would say in a way that black men are starting to become endangered species. Why? Not only do white folks not care about them, interesting. Why did I not think of that? And this is the lesson that we should have learned a long time ago, but yet we don't listen to our elders. We don't listen to our fathers, our grandfathers, our great-grandfathers, our great-great-grandfathers. It's quite interesting. Quite interesting to say the least. But it's not totally our fault. They just want to see us gone. And they're willing to do anything and everything. Lie, cheat, steal. It's all evident. It's all evident. It's all included, and it's all facts. What you read about today, what Trump's doing right now, what the administration is doing, what the FBI is doing, it's all facts. They're all willing to, what is her name? Christy Knowles. She's willing to lie, cheat, and steal away hey, that's just what people do to stay where they are. And while if you think Trump's the only one, by the way, sidebar, just in case you think that Trump is the only one making deals, think again. You have what's her name? His wife's name that's illegal in this country. She's an immigrant. They're making deals. Just in case he gets impeached, and he will get impeached, don't you think that he doesn't have anything planned? Whatever the chick's name is, I don't care. I truly don't care for her. I truly don't care for that administration. I truly do not care for her, for their lies and dissent. I just truly just don't care. I mean, I can look at myself in that. I can look at myself in this situation, and I can literally see myself in Keith, and I didn't do anything wrong. All I wanted to do was celebrate. You get the gist of it. But the one thing I do not see, they're right. I don't see any outrage. I don't see it. Because we truly do, we truly do not give a shit. Now, what does Reese Water got to say about this?
Amorphous powers where Kristi Noem can clear you. By the way, the same Kristi Noem who gave us this.
I remember a time when Republicans were very careful about and worried about the government, particularly unelected people.
Well, we can't trust the government anymore.
Having access to personal data.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You are the government.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, is that the American people now are saying that we have had our personal information shared and out there in the public.
Elon Musk has access to it.
Yeah, but Elon Musk is part of the administration that is helping us identify where we can find savings and what we can do. And he has gone through the processes to make sure that he has the authority
You're totally
the president has granted
him.
I am today by the work that he is doing by identifying waste, fraud, and abuse. And his information that he has is looking at programs, not focusing on personal data and information.
Not focusing on it, but he has access to it.
We'll be continuing to talk to him about what all he has access to. But this audit needs to happen to make sure that we are going through a process that adds integrity back into these programs. And
wow. Oh, by the way, did I forget to mention, or anybody already knew about him bringing Asians into the country? For what reason, I don't know. Did I ever mention anything about this? No, I didn't. Okay. Because we already know about the white South Africans that came into this country, but he wants to get rid of. Interesting. Oh, and his last three wives were immigrants, right? His last three wives. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Oh, and of course, his grandfather and his great-grandfather are immigrants. But he wants to bitch and complain about the immigrants in this country.
That's right. Kristi Noem out of her own mouth talking about how we can't trust government. But y'all do. But y'all do, don't you? Don't you? Even after they ran on government can't be trusted when they become the government, now y'all, now,
Okay, I need to unpack this in a way that doesn't lose the human at the heart of it. I'm not interested in debating whether ICE is complicated and every officer is good or bad. Because when ICE embeds itself into everyday life and neighborhoods, and that very presence kills a man who wasn't even their target, we have to talk about what that actually means, not what that might mean hypothetically. So let's talk about Keith Porter, and let's do it gently, because this is a human life that we're talking about. Keith Porter was a 43-year-old father of two who was shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve in Northridge, California. That's a man with children. A girl dad, no less. Someone whose daughters now have to go through life without him. And I genuinely can't imagine what that must feel like. That's a real loss, not a talking point. And here's the thing that makes my blood simmer. Keith wasn't being detained by ICE. He wasn't a part of an immigration operation. He wasn't someone ICE had a warrant for. He wasn't even on ICE's radar. Yet an off-duty ICE officer inserted himself in a situation that he never should have been in. And it ended with Keith's life being taken. Now, from what I've read, ICE agents do go through training. Questionable, but training. And that training is about enforcement, detention, compliance, transportation, custody, paperwork. It's not designed for community police response. It's not designed for moments where someone's ambiguous, confused, chaotic, scared, or just human. So when an ICE agent off duty decides that they're the one to respond in a moment that's not immigration enforcement context, you have a mismatch, right? You have enforcement training, not community safety training. You have authority, not discretion. You have orders and compliance, not judgment and empathy. That mismatch is deadly. And it's also why we saw the killing of Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis, a 37-year-old mother and writer who was shot 3 times in the face by an ICE officer. That shooting has sparked nationwide protests, and local leaders called for accountability after video contradicted the official narrative. 2 different people, 2 different cities, same structural problem. Not one bad moment. A system that is built without limits or accountability, and without a real delineation from things like local law enforcement and community crisis response. And I want to be clear about something very real. I couldn't and wouldn't want to imagine what Keith's daughters are going through right now. That's not political. That is human. Whatever the legal narratives are, whatever self-defense language gets used, whatever DHS says, a father is gone. His family is grieving. That's the price humans pay when an agency that wasn't designed for everyday civilian moments starts acting like it is. And until people start asking, why are ICE agents, especially off-duty, involved in situations that call for a trained community response? Why does enforcement mission creep into human moments? Why is there so little accountability when someone dies? When someone gets murdered? None of this gets resolved. Keith didn't die because he was a threat. He died because enforcement power without proportional limits got used in a moment that it never should have been in. That's a structural truth, and honestly, that's why this keeps happening.
And
Shout out to that young lady.
I want to thank Ashley, the Baroness, for that.
Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Ashley, for that heartfelt sentiment. When I looked this up, Trump is the son and grandson of immigrants. Germany on his father's side and Scottish on his mother's. I'll say that again. Germany on his father's side. So he's a German, eh? That's okay. You look like a fucking worm with braids. I'm just playing. And then Scottish word. Get some Scottish tea. Yeah. I'm He's from Sweden. None of his grandparents and any one of his parents were born in the United States or spoken English as their first language. But you want to get rid of you want to get rid of the Hispanics over here. Has he threatened any Asians lately? Has he? I'm just curious. Has he threatened any Asians over here lately? Since he doesn't want China to work with Greenland. Quite interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. What is Trump's story? Let's see. I mean, the knowledge that he wields, it's second nature to an ant, because he knows very little. And I don't think he even gives a shit. But somebody like a let me not go there with Barack. Somebody like a Jasmine Crockett has a low IQ. Trump, his grandfather was a son of an immigrant father, Scottish mother, but none of his grandparents were never studied in the United States language. His mother's parents from the remote Scottish outer hybrid or something lived in a majority Scottish speaking community. Frederick Trump came to the United States amid a flood of Germans. Nearly 1 million made the journey to settle in America between 1880 and 1885. It was the Times report to start an adventurous life as a barber, restorator, whatever that is, a salon keeper, hotelist, entrepreneur, gold rush, prodigy, gold rush prodigy, shipwreck survivor, and a New York real in-state investor. So, Fred was rich because he had to do what he had to do. And of course, that's one of the reasons that he ended up giving his son, Donald Trump, $1 million for a trust fund, and he blew it, of course. You don't know Trump like I knew Trump. But I just want to give a little history lesson. And I was wondering why, for the simple fact that he has a problem with immigrants over here. So now you can add the dots and possibly figure out why he's so prejudiced towards certain people. But I digress.
Because I gave my thoughts on Renee Good. And in this scenario, I would like to make clear that I have no issue with any of the response to Renee Good whatsoever. That is how we should be responding in a situation like this. It is the others that deserve the same energy. And given what we saw about how many they've already piled up, we should have been here.
Sadly, I'm late to breaking news, like ridiculously late. But R.I.P. Keith Porter, R.I.P. Keith Porter, R.I.P. Keith Porter. And this conversation is going to combine a couple of things. But
Heard about, much less seen the public fight demanding answers and justice.
Last week, a man named Keith Porter was killed by an off-duty ICE agent, but you probably haven't heard his name. And while part of that may be because of the ICE agent being off-duty rather than on-duty with a large crowd, we also know the biggest reason why this exists. Keith Porter is a black man, and black men, black women that get killed by agents, officers, don't get the same amount of national attention. Many people online have been very angry at me and other black people for saying not to use the phrase "say her name" when it comes to Renee Good. And this is part of the reason. It has taken 7 days for the average person, and not even the average person, but for people online to find out about Keith Porter. While most people across the country know who Renee Good is within 24 hours. Within 24 hours, people have started marching for her. They have been sharing the stories of her families. They have been talking about her, sharing posts of her, memorializing her, making sure that she is known. Meanwhile, Keith Porter's family, they've been struggling to get into the news cycle. They've been struggling to have any conversation. And the same defense that ICE agents are using to justify killing Good is the same defense that they're using for justifying killing Porter. They say that he had a weapon and that he pointed it at them first, despite the fact that nobody on the scene concurred that, aside from the officer who shot him. These are the conversations that we need to be having. It's not divisive to ask you to use language that matters. It's not offensive to ask you to consider how you're speaking about an issue, because part of the reason why fascism is happening now in the United States is because certain groups of people have never had to care this much. We've been under attack as black folks for a very long time. Indigenous folks understand, many Latinos understand. There are many groups that understand that we have been under attack for a long time, but there are many folks that have just woken up, even in the last week, that are screaming, saying that we're being divisive. But what's more divisive? Refusing to acknowledge the work of someone that came before you, of people that have been here, people that have consistently voted in favor of not having things like this happen, or people who just showed up to the fight. Who is in charge of the language? Ask yourself that. And before you get angry at somebody for asking you not to use a phrase than you do for the fact that that phrase has to exist in the first place, take a seat and breathe, because your privilege is showing.
But ultimately, these are things that we largely know. It is the majority population.
But without question, this is national news. Renee Good's national news. Everybody knows about her. Everybody's talking about her. Everybody's concerned about what happened, as we should be. As we should be. It was cold-blooded murder. The arguments, don't care. But this is the issue here. I talk about white people all the time. I don't fuck with my people. It just is what it is. I think the ones that claim that they're cool, who show in the 11th hour that they're not cool, are the biggest problem to me than people who are outwardly racist.
We already knew that. And now, well, I just want to say rest in peace to our brother. Rest in peace to Mr. Keith Porter Jr. Mr. Keith Porter Jr., Mr. Keith Porter Jr. May he rest in power. Black power, black power, black power. Now, on to other news, which mainly I'm just gonna have time for. Then I'm gonna let you have the rest of your day, because to me, this was brain draining. Have you ever played brain drain before? Those of you who are young or middle-aged, I think it's Minecraft or some game where you can play brain drain. But anyway, this is the opposite. This is the opposite of fun. Because again, we put ourselves halfly, put ourselves in position to fail. We have certain opportunities still, and we still have certain resources still. But early today, I caught a couple of people in the chat stating that Jasmine Crockett is not worthy of that seat because she's a woman. I did ask if they particularly had a problem because not just because she's a woman, but because she's a black woman. I didn't get no response. But yet, you have no problems taking orders at work from a female boss who is just a regular supervisor. We're just talking about a Jasmine Crockett who mainly, hopefully, she gets that Senate seat. But there are just way too many people. It's bad enough that we have conservatives, black conservatives running off at the freaking mouth, right? That's bad enough in itself. It's bad enough to hear how hood she is, how street she is, how this, how that, blah, 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 blah. You don't care about the black community because you side with the Latinas, you side with the Mexicans, you side with this side, you side with that side. Again, are we not paying attention that she is a politician and that politicians don't serve just one class? But yet, and this is the kicker, if you as a majority group have an issue, especially when you live in the city of Texas, if you have an issue, doesn't matter what it is, you can go straight to her. The Hispanics went to her and said, can you do something? If you are in position of power and when you make decisions, can we have a law that will mainly protect us from people who is going to just ship us off out of the country and then hopes for us to come back in? Even with, and mind you, even with green cards, even with paperwork, it's still not enough. I don't know why that is. You get stopped for having paperwork. And if you're not proved, it's just it. I wish white people would just say what they need to say, and that is, we do not want nothing that's pure-blooded in this country. Why can't they just say that? Because they need your melanin. They need our melanin. Watch my words. Heed my words. Okay, I don't know what the hell's going on with this situation. I guess some Asian nut. I might be wrong because this is the first time I've ever seen it. Something about Jasmine Crockett getting hoarded by some person that said, don't vote for her. Don't waste your money on her. Let's play it.
Two were discussing the potential 2028 Democratic presidential field on their podcast, Las Culturistas, and Rogers took a shot at the Texas firebrand. Take a listen.
Anytime a politician is making it too obviously about themselves, I'm already done.
We're out.
Don't waste your money sending to Jasmine Crockett. Do not do it.
I must agree.
Don't do it. You're going to waste your money. Take it from someone who sent Sarah Gideon.
Presidential field on their podcast, Las Culturistas, and Rogers took a shot at the Texas firebrand. Take a listen.
Anytime a politician is making it too obviously about themselves, I'm already done.
Wow.
And don't waste your money sending to Jasmine Crockett. Do not do it.
I must agree.
Don't do it. You're going to waste your money. Take it from someone who sent Sarah Gideon like a ton of money in Maine. Like, just don't do it. Don't waste your money. Don't do it.
It's hard enough to come by.
A few minutes later, Rogers clarified his position, I guess.
Let me just qualify the Jasmine Crockett thing. She's not going to win a Senate seat in Texas, you guys. Like, if Beto O'Rourke couldn't do it, like, Jasmine Crockett is not going to do it. She is, and it's nothing against her. It's just that she is a politician and that she is, like, you know, like, very well defined already. Like, yeah. Gavin Newsom is defined.
Yeah.
I believe Jasmine Crockett is defined.
Yep.
Like, I'm just trying to win here, and I really feel differently than we did in 2016. Like, the way to win now is to, like, go with the energy.
He also said that he liked Crockett's opponent, James Tallarico, because he wasn't yet defined. But those comments were met with such significant backlash online, some fans accusing the two of disrespecting Crockett and also being anti-Black.
In response, Rogers posted a statement to his Instagram story writing, "Hey everybody, I heard the response and I am taking every bit of it to heart. I promise. Transparency and candor matter to me, especially on the podcast.
Oh, this is painful to read. Keep going.
I'm a very progressive person who cares deeply about winning these elections. But my phrasing was not. I will be more thoughtful. I really do promise. I have great respect for Representative Crockett, and I regret that my words suggested others.
No!
I just want us to win."
Okay, we can do all this without the extras. We can do all that without the extras.
And I'll be better at finding ways to help. And Yang reposted Rogers' statement on his own social media, adding, quote, "should not have cursorily weighed in on this, understanding the platform, and will use it more responsibly." Unless you go first because you're about to fall out of your seat.
Weak. What is this, 2018? You have to apologize for everything now? I am embarrassed for them that they thought the light pushback they got to a completely reasonable, valid, and correct take that Jasmine Crockett is not going to win in Texas. James Tallarico has a way better shot. Probably neither of them will win, but Jasmine Crockett is way less likely to win. That is a benign and correct evaluation, and if you were offended by that, you're stupid. And I can't believe they felt like they had to apologize, and that it makes me respect them less. So now you should apologize to me, Bowen Yang, and whoever that other guy is, for offending me with your apologize. I demand an apology for your apology.
Vote for Jasmine Crockett if you are in the Texas area, Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth. Just to name a few. If you are in the area, if you are not in the area, you could still support by going to the website and seeing what you can do. Other than that, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to become a member of the We-On-Loc Nation channel if you feel so choose. And of course, go to change.org/swearing Jasmine Crockett for U.S. Senate. Sign the petition. It is free. It is free of charge. Now, I'm going to go and rest my brain. I'm sure people are tired and they just want to go to sleep. I'm kind of irritated and exhausted. So I'll see you when I see you, I guess. But thanks for the support. Always.